Hello, and welcome to an almost very festive episode of the Swamp Creatures podcast. I'm Riggedy Rob, here with my co host for the night, Mitch Connor, aka the Cypherpunk, aka possibly Elaine Capo. Who knows if you
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
even
whoa,
know?
whoa. What are you talking about?
We don't even know. All right.
That's not me.
This is a cool episode because I get to bring on someone who has had experience in the realm of politics and lobbying, and also in the on the libertarian side of things, and also on the Republican side of things. So he has a pretty good perspective, especially if you've been listening to this podcast. We bring up the different strategies of, I guess, progressing liberty in the political arena. So, without further ado, I'm bringing on the former Republican Liberty Caucus National Executive Director, the co-host of the Alex and Adrian's Unattended Baggage podcast, and the current Legislative Action Chair Legislative Action Committee Chair for the Libertarian Party of Florida. Everybody, Alex Snitker.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for joining us today, Alex.
No, my pleasure, Ed. My pleasure.
Yeah, so you're kind of my boss. You're kind of my boss now. I'm going to be the vice chair. And the first question I kind of wanted to ask you was along the lines of what I was alluding to in the introduction. You worked with the Republican Liberty Caucus, and you were a Republican for a while. And so you obviously tried that avenue, and now you're kind of back doing the libertarian thing. So what's your view on the kind of Tho Bishop approach to it, and then the libertarian approach to, I guess, affecting change for pro liberty activists? I guess would be the way I would put it.
Okay. The best way that I would put it is, me personally, at this point, I am much more looking to see a political party like the Libertarian Party increase in membership to the point that they can actually win elections. I think that it's possible that you can get things moving forward no matter what direction they're going, as long as you're working. So, like, as long as you're trying to get things done, that if you're trying to do it through the Republican Party or you're trying to do it through the Libertarian Party, there are disadvantages and advantages to both. So I can't really speak to, I don't want to say which way I think it would be better or worse. It really comes down to personal preference. There's a lot of people I know that would be better off and better suited personality-wise, like being in the Republican Party. And I think there's people that are much better suited in doing it through the Libertarian Party. And that really kind of sounds like a political answer. So let me get to the part of it where I think where the meat of it would be.
Yeah, I'm on the same page as you, I think.
Yeah. The thing about it is this: we're never going to get there the way that we want to see the Republican Party will never be the Libertarian Party. It's not built that way. The members of that party are not that way. You're never going to make that party into the Libertarian Party, nor do we want to, I don't think. So I think if you're looking to see the libertarian movement grow exponentially, I think that you're better off working through the party than you are working within the party. Even if on the legislative side you do that. Like, I would say that when we were libertarians with Liberty First Network, we probably got further along than when we were Republicans with the Liberty First Network. However, that being said, most of the people that went up there with us are Republicans. So, like, it's a weird deal, I think, because they knew at the time we were libertarians, and this is just coming off Adrian Wiley getting 250,000 votes in Florida when he ran for governor. That probably did more to give us more of a pull up in Tallahassee, or more influence up Tallahassee, than anything else did. So I think having somebody that is solid in numbers and elections, because at that time, Adrian's percentage equated to more than the difference than winning between the two candidates would be.
That's
It was
actually
so
insane.
close that Adrian's $250,000 would have made the difference. And don't get me wrong, those people probably wouldn't have voted for either one of those people, because that was against Kristen
Scott?
Dang, who was he running against?
Was it Scott or?
Yeah, it was Scott. Yeah, Scott.
It was
and
Scott
Chris.
and
Yeah,
Charlie
that's what it was.
Chris. It was
Mhm.
Scott and
Yeah,
Charlie.
Scott Chris.
Two very unlikable
Which-
candidates.
I got to admit that was my introduction to the LPF, because both of those candidates, it was like, we can vote for the guy who we already have is terrible, or we can vote for the guy we've already had who is terrible.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
So
just
to answer the question, I think that it really depends on your perspective. But at this point, my perspective is, here's the thing. My perspective is anarchy, and I'm a compromised libertarian now.
yeah, I get it. I mean, you have to play the realist game at some point, right? Especially when you're up there with these Republican and Democrats. Like, even talking to I won't say who it was. I talked with someone from Normal of Florida who was pretty high up, and basically I'm asking questions like, why do you guys legislate in your bills these plant restrictions? Like, why do you restrict your own bill on how many plants you can grow in your own home? Like, and they said, because if we don't, then the Mothers Against drug needs some other lobby who is against it is going to come in and say they're not regulating themselves at all. So basically what she was saying is, I'd rather regulate myself than have others regulate me. And that's a good point. It's a good point that libertarians have to think about when we're up there lobbying. And of course, you would know best. I mean, you're with Liberty First. Is it Liberty First Network or just Liberty First?
It was Liberty First Network at the time. Yeah, me and John Hallman and Danielle and Adrian. Adrian really wasn't involved too much, but and we had Paul Henry going with us up there for a while, and we would do lobby days once a year. And you're right, you gotta here's the way I look at it is, you want to try to get as much influence in legislation as libertarian as possible if you're up there lobbying for it, which means you're never going to get what you want, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day, because somebody's going to win an election and lose election. And so you have to go up there and lobby with who you got. And you just hope that during campaign season that you get enough people going, you get enough people to win, to make sure that you can get better legislators up there. But you got to have legislators that are going to play the game too. I mean, it really, it sucks to say it that way, but look, there's some people champion legislation up there for us that, because they're so toxic up there, that the legislation just doesn't go anywhere. And you got to have somebody that's at least going to be nice and respectful. You know, like Senator Jeff Brandt.
You're talking about Sabatini.
I mean, it's the truth, though. I mean, it was Michael before him, though. So I spent more time with Mike Hill because I like Sabatini. I think he's a great guy.
I like Sabatini. I like him a lot too. It's just everything dies. Everything dies.
Well, yeah. Look, I think he's doing good as a candidate right now, but that doesn't lend itself to doing good when it comes to having to deal with leadership up there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I mean, it's what are you going to do, though? I mean, that's the thing is, when these legislators are going up there, you can't be adversarial to all the people that are up there. It doesn't matter where you stand at that point. They're just going to oppose you just to do it.
Yeah, that is 100% true. So we do have to make some allies. I'm with you there, and hopefully, you and I can get some stuff done here before February, and we'll talk about that behind the scenes. This isn't a business podcast, anyway. So since we're talking about
on the topic of business, though, I do kind of want to bring up, you sped right through the introduction of our drinks.
Oh shit! That was
I was just like, we're gonna. So I didn't want to derail the conversation because that's a big question. But
that's my bad. That's a party foul here on this podcast.
It is. So, I think you should accumulate one debt for that.
Okay, that's fine. I'll drink 3, motherfucker. I'll do it.
You're really just gonna go for that? Wow.
Yeah, no, it's fine. So yeah, that's that easy. Peer pressure is like my number one fault. I think it's pretty bad.
The peer pressure is real, and I'm channeling the authoritarianism of the Australian beer Foster's that I'm drinking here tonight.
Well, you didn't even let our guest go first, so Alex, go ahead.
Oh no, dude, I'm not drinking any beer tonight, man. I got to drive after this.
Yes, that's fine. I mean, I told you that the guest is optional, but we are held strictly. We'll end up in one of those Australian concentration camps if we don't finish our drinks on this podcast. That's where Mara is actually. He accrued a debt of like 70-something drinks, so we just shipped him to Australia.
Yeah, he's somewhere down in the camp down in Australia.
They just picked him up almost immediately and said, "Oi, mate, to the brig," and took him there. So
F in the chat for Mara, for anyone who is watching this live.
Yeah, F in the
might
chat.
Come back and rewatch this.
Hope Mara's
After the
watching.
chat for Mara.
I'm drinking vodka, water, lime. I'm watching my girl's figure. Also trying to do keto. So, um, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good about it. I did cheat a little bit today. I picked up some food from this fancy Irish pub here, and I had one Irish car bomb on the way out. So that's a little bit of carbs, but I was in the home of my people, so I had to do it. Anyway, since we're talking about Florida and everything, I have a news story I want to share with you guys. This is kind of depressing for me because I became a libertarian because of. Can I not share my screen? Okay, here we go. Share screen. I became a libertarian because of the drug war and because of our endless wars overseas. And this one hits close to home because it's in home. It's a Florida man. Two Florida men found with 240 pounds of cahooch marijuana during a Jacksonville traffic stop. So this is in the age where a lot of states have legal marijuana, and then I was gonna side by side this with another news article that I found where in another state, I don't know where it was, somewhere legal, somewhere a mythical place where a plant is legal. They baked an 850-pound pot brownie, and they got an award for it, like a monetary reward for it. Now here, the Jacksonville Police Department, obviously.
200 pounds of hydroponic marijuana.
That's like such a buzzword.
Was charged with trafficking large amounts of.
And this is how I know they're in the CIA. Look, this guy, Hui Lee. Okay, you're just racist, and you don't even include a picture of this guy.
Real quickly, hydroponic is a system of gardening. You could use that to make tomatoes. That's not even necessarily something weed related. That's just literally guys. A gardening.
This guy's not going to come on the air and go, they have 240 pounds of daddy.
Well, I mean, I know that, but it's like, can't you think of like something scarier to say than hydroponic?
Oh yeah, so
like you're just trying to think hydroponic. That sounds pretty scary, right?
You want him to fear us to death?
He was also arrested on the same charge. He was identified as 27-year-old TA operations. He's joining us live from outside the Duval County Jail, where both men remain in custody.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right. They remain here in custody at the Duval County Jail, and get this, a judge set their bonds at $500,000 each. Now, according to the federal agents I spoke with, they believe that both men may be part of a large-scale marijuana trafficking organization.
No shit, you got 240 pounds of marijuana. You don't think you're a large marijuana trafficking ring? Okay. Alex, I want your take on this because, like I said, I was going to juxtapose this with the 850-pound pot brownie that was rewarded in another state in the same country. So that's how fucked up we are with our drug policy at this point, especially here in Florida, where I just went to the cannabis festival and people were just toking up like it was nothing. So give me a break here, right?
Yeah, I mean, they got to get rid of the laws overall because one of the problems that we have with things like this is it's not going to be enforced correctly nor evenly. And right now we're in a semi-legal status in Florida when it comes to this. Like on the medical side, it's legal. A lot of people can have cards. So a lot of people can carry a certain amount. It's limited on how much you can carry. I mean, 284 pounds, man, that's a lot of weed.
That's a lot of weed. You get real high.
How nervous as a driver are you
with
how much weed? Look, I don't like doing it like with a quarter bag in there, let alone poundage.
Yeah.
And, but I mean, it just sucks that there's a drug war. You're right, though. We got to get rid of that war, and that's the other one you talked about was the war on terror and foreign policy overall. We got to get rid of these things because it's not doing us good. I mean, those guys should be distributing it. It should be considered like starting a business.
Mm-hmm. And the reason why I brought this up, I just joined this organization who just got their start here in Florida, but they have helped legalize entheogenic plant medicines, mushrooms, ayahuasca, stuff like that, in Detroit, Portland, and Ann Arbor, Michigan. Decriminalize Nature is the overall organization. We're Decriminalize Nature Florida, and they are planning on doing kind of protesting this arrest of these two individuals. I'm not gonna give a personal opinion on how I think it's gonna go, as far as like what's going to happen to them, because obviously they are a part of a larger ring, and that's what the authorities are going after. I think is the larger rings. I don't think it's a good thing, but I'm just saying overall it doesn't play well for these two individuals. But I just wanted to plug Decriminalized Nature Florida real quick and say, they're going to do a good job of bringing awareness to injustices like this, and like uneven application of enforcement, I guess.
Yeah.
Another story relevant in the news right now. Jesse Smallett just got handed down guilty verdicts for beating himself up, and I thought this was a great piece by the Daily Wire. I normally don't give Ben Shapiro much credit, but I could picture him laugh. They pretty much just said, "Give us a funny quote from all their people at the Daily Wire and other people associated." Like the Babylon Bee has this one. Jesse Smollett will be forced to share a jail cell with his own attacker. Haha, that's kind of funny, Babylon Bee. Ben Shapiro, tonight Jesse Smollett can rest knowing that his attacker has been convicted. Yeah, that's about how that would go. What'd you send here, Mitch?
I thought I would drop this in here just because I heard this an hour ago too, and I meant to put it before the show, but honestly, I just forgot to bring it up. But you just reminded me.
I was gonna bring this up too because I saw it on Anti.
Oh, okay, cool. That was on there. Cool.
Yeah, go ahead and talk. I mean, anything to say about the Jesse Smollett? I kind of just brought it up because it was funny.
Oh, Smallett. Did you see Smallett? The shit that we're all talking about instead of Ghislaine Maxwell?
Right. And another trial that's not getting any sort of media coverage. The media is outside the courthouse, but not allowed to because it's a federal case.
Part of me is just like, has there ever been a precedent before where there's been a federal case that's been televised? I'm just wondering.
I don't know.
I don't know enough to remember.
I don't like. Part of me wonders if there ever has been, just out of my own curiosity, because I'm not a courtroom TV type of guy.
I want to say it's law that they don't televise it right now, but I'm not sure. Also, not a lawyer. I can't be saying stuff like that right now. You got me in not
a lawyer.
Between a rock and a hard place. Yeah. But it would be in the best interest that they do start televising stuff like this, right? In certain cases, I think.
I mean, this is a huge one.
This is a huge one, and it's one that calls for transparency, right? Like, obviously, Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. Like, do we have to say that enough times to try and bring it home? And then we should be able to at least to watch the trial, what's going on, because all we have is like artist renderings, and if you go and read the court documents yourself.
Which, if you've gone back, there's been a lot of interesting, weird documents that have already come out even before this entire process began. Like stories about Kevin Spacey and all that other shit. Like,
who flew on the plane? Right, like Kevin Spacey was on the plane.
Oh, there's a website. There's a website that has everyone listed. Like, here, let me go find.
Yeah,
this.
I mean, this is a big ring. I mean, this is.
Yeah.
I hate to say it's obvious, but it's just obvious that, and it's being ignored. It's being ignored in plain sight, though. Like, they'll tell you Clinton with him and Trump went with him and all these people went with him, and yet it's not made a thing. Like, they just ignore it. And again, they go to Juice Smollett.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing about this one that gets me is she was kind of like the lady that brings in the younger girl. Like, she was the one that kind of tried to make the girls feel comfortable, I guess. And that's just almost as sick as Epstein and maybe Clinton, allegedly Clinton, who knows.
I mean, it's downright predatory. But there's just a lot of, like, part of me wonders if this was some kind of blackmail scheme. Because you remember the one woman from the Project Veritas leak did say that Epstein made all of his money by blackmailing people.
That's the rumor.
I mean, it's the rumor, but like we heard it. It's kind of like one of those things you hear it straight out of the horse's mouth, and you line everything up. It's just kind of like, yeah, that sounds about right. Like,
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, if you have all those connections and all that pull, it's always been said that all these people in the elite or call or whatever you want to call it is that they've wanted to have dirt on each other so they wouldn't rat each other out. And I mean, I don't understand it, but in a weird, sick kind of way, I guess it makes sense.
It's a weird ass Game of Thrones. I mean, it's not the first time this has been done in history, though. So, like Eli Cohen, the Israeli spy with Mossad, you can actually look this guy up. He's actually taught about to people who go into those sorts of professions. Back in, I can't remember if it was the 50s, the 60s, or the 70s. It was somewhere in that time frame where they sent him up to Syria to basically infiltrate the upper echelon, the elites of Syria. They had him pose as a playboy billionaire from Venezuela, and he basically just got dirt on all of them.
Yeah.
So, like, this isn't the first time something like that's been done.
All right.
Well, I mean, it's standard practice for the CIA, isn't it? I mean, it's not seen as something that is not openly admitted to. Like, they talk about how they get assets out there, and those assets, do those things for them, give them information, how they develop and train and grow assets, and how they get blackmail on somebody to get them to give them some documents so they can get them more. Like, there's a whole playbook they have for this that they're actually pretty public about. I mean, it's not, it's another one of the things. It's a secret, right, and open public.
I mean, and then that goes into all the sort of things that CIA does undercover, right? Like the Fast and Fire. What was it? Do you know what I'm talking about? The
Fast and Furious.
Fast and Furious.
Fast and Furious.
Right. The Fast and Furious, and in the 80s, just shipping drugs back and forth from Mexico to all over the place. And all sorts of just...
They had a movie about it. It was called Air America. Robert Downey Jr. was in it.
Exactly. And all sorts of just unaccounted for funding. Like how the Pentagon was like, we just lost $123 trillion. Don't ask about it. Yeah. Hector wants to know how Adrian's doing.
He's good. He's doing all right, man. He's Adrian, though. I mean, if you listen to the podcast at all, like, so much of that isn't shtick. I mean, he really is...
He was hungover.
Get off my lawn, kind of asshole now. But I mean, look, I love him to death. I always love him to death. But like, it's the same time he's going to admit when he's, when he acts like a hole. So
I don't know. Part of me wonders though what he thinks of the scene with LPF right now, or even like the Mises Caucus and all that different type of stuff going on. Like, because he was so influential with me coming in here that it's kind of like, I wonder what that guy's up to and what he thinks what's going on now, if anything.
I mean, I'd say that he hasn't paid enough of attention to know any of it, really. I mean, really doesn't pay attention to it anymore. And he really doesn't, I hate to say it this way, he is all they gone now as far as any kind of government solution. I mean, he hopes the party does well and, that people in elections, or he's kind of waiting for he's more room for a comet to hit an electrical fire or electrical out globally at this point. He's much more hoping something like that, I think, than anything else. I mean, it sucks to say it that way. I mean, I don't want to be disappointing, but he just, you know what? It's the best thing for him, though, because if your heart's not involved in it and you don't want to deal with it, he's entertaining in their ways and can make people think in their ways. So when it comes to like party apparatus stuff, it's better that he's not involved. I mean, I say it that way, but it's a guy's
would you say that he's black-pilled?
We're not going into the whole pill thing. I
gotta ask because what you just said, okay, nihilistic.
I don't know the definition. I don't know the definition.
Yeah, nihilistic. There you go. That's
basically what the black pill is. It's nihilism.
I'm sure you guys have heard the saying is that I'd never be a member of an organization that would have any part of me or would have as a member. He's really more along those lines now. I mean, it's I don't know. It's tough to talk. It's tough to explain. Other than whenever I'm asked, I always say he's out. He's out, no matter what. The only way I could ever there's no way he'd be involved again. Next time he's involved in something, it's going to involve guns. It doesn't own anyway.
So he doesn't want to run against DeSantis for governor.
No, he would never do it in a million.
I think that's
not that he likes DeSantis or doesn't like DeSantis. He'd never do it in a million years anyway.
Oh, that's
Never
fine. I
in
mean,
a million years.
250,000 votes for a libertarian candidate at a gubernatorial level, like that's awesome. That's almost unheard of in any other space. Like it really is. Maybe I don't know how many votes Larry Sharp got in New York. Does anyone know off the top
It
of
was
their head?
that year. It was
I can
that
find
year.
that
It was.
info.
It was one of the highest votes for a statewide that year.
Wow,
It was
yeah.
one of the highest votes for that cycle, and we raised a pretty decent amount of money. I mean, I don't remember exactly how much it was, but we raised a pretty decent amount. It could be redone. You don't need Wiley to do that. To be honest with you, though. I mean, I wouldn't worry about Governor 22 anyway, though, because
So
No.
I just want to point this out. Larry Sharp in his election in New York, according to Ballotpedia, only got 95,033 votes.
There you go.
that's not bad for a blue state, though.
Yeah.
No, oh, yeah. That's a good point. All right, Mitch, I'm going to bring up your story real quick. I'll let you bring it in.
All right, 1 second here. I'll get back to where we were. There we go. So it looks like Julian Assange is probably going to end up getting extradited to the United States. And
I thought he was already extradited to the United States.
No. They were in this weird he was in this weird limbo process where he just wasn't being extradited. He was being held in solitary. It's been a complete shit show. And honestly, fucking what the hell, Donald Trump? Like the one thing you could have done.
If you would have pardoned either Assange
No, dude, I literally said, I've said this once on the show and I'll say it again. If Trump had just pardoned Assange, Snowden, or Ross Ulbricht, not even I'll give him an or, I would have been out. I would have been a Liberty Republican and I wouldn't be here on this show with you right now. But that didn't happen. And frankly, with Assange, it's the biggest kind of fuck you because let's face it, Assange was pretty pivotal in helping Trump out without, inadvertently, nonetheless.
Ooh, some of these comments are spicy. Did you read some of these comments?
No, I didn't read some of them. Where do you
Why is the American corruption system being allowed to infect the rest of the world? It is supposed to be the most humane judicial system in the world, yet so barbaric.
Assange isn't a fucking U.S. citizen.
American corruption system. Yeah, I mean, it's close. Like China's pretty bad, right? Yeah, China's pretty bad right now. So yeah, it's pretty bad. U.S. just has it out. The U.S. just has it out for Julian Assange, right? Because he's telling the truth.
He basically fucked over both the big wings of different parties. I mean, remind you when he exposed George Bush in 2004, around that time frame. I think it was like 2008, somewhere around there. The left and the Democrats could not stop singing his praises. But then he came back around and exposed the DNC. And now none of them like him.
That's what happens when you don't play the game. Hector's in the chat getting a lot of exposure tonight. Hector, congratulations. You're the most active in the chat tonight. Thanks for watching the show, bud. Weekly. I was wondering where Joey's at. Joey's not drinking with us this Friday. He must be doing something Christmassy. Yeah, I'm disappointed too. It's okay. The one time I get to host the show, Joey's not here. That's fine. Okay. So next on the show notes, I just wanted to ask you: Are you updated on the Russia and Ukraine situation that's going on? I haven't been too updated on it, but Biden is warning of U.S. action if Russia continues its pressure on Ukraine. And I'm not even going to pull up the article. It's just a Yahoo article saying this. And I think it's just a terrible idea. And it's just a continuation of the terrible foreign policy that the U.S. has practiced over many decades at this point. Do we really want to get in a hot war with Russia and Ukraine?
Yeah, I don't the thing about it is is Russia really being an aggressor here? I'd like to think that they are, but at the same time, you mix reports on some of these things, but I don't know. It's really a tough call, but no matter what, we shouldn't really be involved in any of that stuff going on anyway, though. I just don't want to. We need to get out of those messes, not involved in those messes. And I don't know.
So it depends on where you read. I've read a couple articles just trying to catch up on this. And I read an article on antiwar.com to get our kind of side of things, Scott Horton's website. And and it was saying that Ukraine kind of amassed some troops by the Russian border, and then in kind of the mainstream media, I'm reading, Russia is posturing against Ukraine, and this has been an ongoing thing for years now. So I don't think it's anything new, right? I think tensions have been high since Crimea, back in what was that 20? That was back when Obama was in was the president, right?
Oh, that was that long ago. I think it was. I think you're right.
Yeah,
I'm gonna pull it up.
it was either 2017, right before Trump got in, I think.
Crimea
Oh,
conflict was. It looks like it was around 2014.
2014. Yeah, so Obama was in office. Dang, that makes me feel old. Yeah, I was definitely in college because this was a big thing. Whenever I was in the Model UN, we were talking about this.
2014.
And
One second.
and Russia just wanted a warm water port, man. Just give them a warm water port. They're so fucking cold up there. They just freezing their balls off all the time while they're trying to ship exports, imports, and exports. So just give them a warm water port and like let them be done. I don't know. I'm on Ukraine's side a little bit, but at the same time, the president of Ukraine did a lot of sketchy shit.
I mean, are we just going to forget that there was like an entire coup that happened in Ukraine under Obama?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. And then the president of Ukraine ended up hightailing it out of there because, yeah. So he got scared. So, like I said, this is nothing new. The U.S. doesn't really need to get involved with this. It's kind of the overall libertarian perspective right here, right?
Well, I mean, I think the thing is the U.S. should stop being involved. I think
Mhm.
we've been involved for too long, and we need to back off a lot of these things. I think for some reason, when you watch this in media and people on both sides say this, is that they almost think we have a right to be involved and to tell these other countries what to do, and that we're arguing over what we should tell them what to do, and not the argument of shouldn't we not be telling them what to do at all anyway. When you're giving all these people this much money, and we've given Ukraine millions of dollars,
Billions.
corruption comes from it. And we're doing arms sale to these guys. We're doing a lot of different, we're giving them a lot of different money, greasing a lot of wheels, which is why we'll stick, family members of politicians on boards of companies over there. I mean, if you don't think that that doesn't have something to do with it, it's a problem. And that's why you got to look at Biden as you're just as guilty about any of this stuff. You've had your family involved. They've gotten money from over there. You got a lot of connections over there to go along with all that money we've given them.
Joe's son sells a lot of art over there. Hunter Biden sells a lot of his art over there, I heard. Let's see. Okay, yep. I'm moving on to the next topic. I mean, it's just kind of more of the same, right? This is more skeptical. And this is more skeptical looking at Joe Biden and Kamala Harris going into the presidential race in 2024, right? So let me share my screen on this one. And then after this one, I believe we have a hard segue. I don't know what it is with me. Whenever I host shows, I like to do hard segues. So this is at someone's funeral. Let me see.
Let me Bob Dole's funeral.
Bob Dole's funeral, right. So Biden...
Is he wearing two masks?
Biden?
Yeah.
Oh, no, it just looks like one.
Okay, there's like almost like a white line above the one on top. That's why.
I kind of see what you're saying. Maybe he is double masking.
Yeah, is it two masks?
He might be double masking. That's okay.
Look, his wife looks the same.
Yeah, well, he doesn't know if it's his wife or his sister. That we can confirm. Here, it looks like Harris is making, and tell me if I'm wrong, we're analyzing this video. It looks like Harris is making direct eye contact with the former vice president, and he's just kind of got this stare like, I'm going to shit my pants if I don't get to a bathroom real quick. I don't know. Is that what you guys are seeing, or is that just me?
Your eyesight's a lot better than me on this one.
Yeah, I don't...
Okay, we'll keep playing it.
Keep playing this. Good.
Okay, her head definitely followed him.
Okay, she's watching him. That's weird.
She's definitely watching him, and now he's
she might be looking for a spot to take him out.
Oh yeah, she might. we better watch
She's
out.
looking for the kill.
She might jab him real quick. Give him his 7th booster.
Yeah, see if you can shank right there.
Oh, she
She's
once
resisting.
she saw he wasn't going to look at her, she just kind of locked the head. So yeah, people are speculating about this in different articles, and this is.
I've already heard a lot of speculation that they're not really on good terms.
Yeah, I have to. This is so Benny Johnson posted this on Twitter. He's pretty popular among conservative circles. Town Hall, obviously not huge in the mainstream, but there are also mainstream websites reporting this. So what do we think? And we've talked about this before, do we think that Kamala Harris is going to be the VP for Biden? Do we think that Biden's even going to be the presidential candidate going into 2024? And I'll go with our guest first. I'll go with Alex first.
Oh, okay, my bad. Yeah, okay, there's 2 different questions at play. The first question is, do I think Biden will be the nominee in 24? And I don't think he will be. My bet is he won't be alive. I think he'll be dead by then. I'm not saying that in a mean way or that he's going to kill him. He's just an old guy. Yeah, I mean, he's just an old guy. So I don't think he's gonna. I don't think he's gonna be able to do it. So he may not be dead. He might be incapacitated or something. But I don't think he's going to be able to.
Okay.
As far as Kamala Harris goes, I don't think she's going to be the nominee. But I don't think she's going to be replaced as the VP pick either, or as the VP candidate. I think they're going to have a whole separate. The primary is going to be a wide open primary, and someone else is going to get the nomination. She's just too unpopular. I mean, she's too unliked. And, they can say it's because she's a woman or for other reasons or a person of color, but she's just an unlikable person. I mean, there's just no getting around that. I mean, she's not likable. It's you can tell from the staff fire or from the staffy leaving. Just if you see her in interviews, she's not very good at the interviews. Like, she's just not a good politician. I mean, she was going to lose California in the primaries, and she was the senator from California.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just not that good of a politician.
She just laughs at the wrong times too.
She laughs worse. She's worse than Hillary. God.
Yeah, creepier than Hillary.
I kind of want Joe to make it through all 4 years, just because I feel like they're gonna weekend at Bernie's this shit. The last these 3 years. I really do. I really do.
That's a good one. I did see a video. It was like he was by a helicopter or something, and some reporter was like screaming at him, asking him a question, and it sounded like he said, "I wiped my ass" or something like that, and it sounded just like that. It sounded like he said, "My butt's clean" or something along those lines. That's the second Biden shit his pants joke, and I'm not doing it on purpose. That's just what he said. I wish I should have.
It's funny how Biden shitting his pants used to be a joke, and now there's actually precedent for it possibly being
Do you think
real.
he actually shit his pants at the Vatican?
I mean, I gotta say, if he did, that's a major dominance move to do that to the Pope. I mean, really letting him know that he controls his bodily functions in his palace, not him. Like, I have mad respect for Biden if that did actually happen.
This is our president. We're speculating over whether he shit his pants or not. It's not a good thing, but it's also absolutely hilarious. And I'm surprised that Trump didn't shit his pants at least one time. Maybe he did, but Trump would keep it under. If Trump shit his pants, it would be the funniest thing. It would be the funniest thing in the world. He would actually probably tell the truth about it. I shit my pants. It was the biggest shit in my pants I've ever taken in my life.
You should have called Guinness because it was truly the largest.
You know it. I know it. Everybody knows I shit in my pants. I rubbed it on the Pope's desk and told him he can suck my cock. That's probably what he said.
He gave it away to his 3 Kurds.
Oh, damn. Republicans don't like that one. When you bring up the Kurds, but it's also another pattern of the U.S. just completely abandoning the Kurds and their allies in the Middle East.
I mean, honestly, though, the Kurds
hold on a
are
second, real quick.
Right.
No, not to interrupt, real quick though. When I said that, I said Kurds, as in that was the South Park episode where Bono was.
Yeah. Kurds. Oh, that's hilarious. So
not Kurds.
Let me see here. I thought this was America. Yeah.
Huh? Isn't this America? I'm sorry, I thought this was America.
We'll let that soundbite play while I make another drink. Mitch, we're at a hard segue. Do you think you can banter for a second? Do you think you can do your best Trump impression while I make a drink?
Trying to do the Trump impression. I'd never really been that good with Trump. It's never been one of my go-to impressions. I have many other ones in my arsenal. Ones that are far better, far more egregious, far less egregious. I can't really do Trump.
That was pretty good, though.
Was that actually pretty good?
That wasn't bad.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
All
It wasn't
right.
the worst Trump impression I've heard.
I mean, if that actually was, I kind of want to send that to my old drama teacher and let her know. I think I'm finally getting it.
She'd
probably
give you a C+.
You gotta just turn it up a little bit. Like, you gotta take it. You're where you need to go, and just go a little bit more.
The problem is, there's one guy online who I've heard who literally does a spot on Trump.
Shane Gillis?
I don't know. I don't think it's Shane Gillis. It's just some random guy that I saw in a video from the Babylon Bee.
Let me tell you, Shane Gillis does his voice. Like, if you're listening to the audio podcast, he's a comedian. If you haven't seen his new special, it's free on YouTube. Go check it out. This is a free plug. Shane Gillis, hilarious guy. Got the best Trump impression right now. Right now. It's sad that Trump didn't get another 4 years just because of Shane Gillis's impeccable impression of the guy. And I stand by that.
I know a guy who does a spot on Obama.
Mm-hmm. So, drink number 2 calls for a hard segue. I was listening to Unattended Baggage, Alex and Adrian's Unattended Baggage. First of all, how'd you come up with that name?
All right, well, we used to have a show called the Liberty Underground Show. For a long time, we had that show. And then that show morphed into a couple different things, and then that show ended right around Adrian's run for office. So for years, we were not doing any shows at all. But we talk on the phone all the time because we were still friends. And they were always pretty funny conversations, always some witty banter going back and forth. And a couple of times when we were talking, we ought to put this, we ought to make this a show. And in looking at, well, hold on. Then I almost died. So I got Legionnaire's pneumonia and I almost died.
Holy
and
shit.
then when I came to from that, I was like, you know what, man, we got to just sit down and start doing the show. And so we started sitting down doing it. We had to figure out a name. And we were brainstorming names for a long time. It was just, and it varied. I actually wanted to go with Past the Breakers, which was an Everclear song. Well, soon I passed the breakers and watch the world die. We can live beside the ocean. Right, you know what I'm talking about. So yeah. I actually want to do Past Breakers. Adrian didn't want to do that one. And so we used to have Danielle on the show all the time. What's that?
This is why you call him an asshole. He didn't give you the name you wanted.
Well, there's a lot of different reasons. I mean, you can write a book of the reasons why. But what happened is that Danielle used to be on the show, and she used to keep us in line. And so now we're unattended, and it was unattended baggage. And then it came up with the bomb thing, and we're in an airport. So it got this whole feel with being unattended baggage at an airport. So that's really how the show came about. That's how the name of the show came about. But and we show notes and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's how the show the name came about.
Yeah, I loved hearing that you guys have show notes. It shows you're organized. Unlike the show, this show never has show notes. So I was like, he's coming on. I should put together some show notes just so we look organized. It's okay. We normally don't.
Yeah, you have it. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. I mean, it's because we don't do guests. So because we don't do guests, always just me and him every week. I mean, I've got him to do one guest one time, and I was having Beza. And we did one on being a libertarian cop in a state of war or something like that.
Well, we'll have to try and get him on. I know he said he doesn't like doing them, but we have fun. And he made a comment about my generation not knowing how to shotgun a beer. And I'm very curious on how you guys shotgun beers back in the day. I didn't know there was a different way.
Well, some people do it up and down, and some people do it side by side, I think.
Yeah. I don't know. He was saying.
I mean, I thought it was always like that. Like that's
the way it's supposed to be. He's saying some people are doing it to the side now or something.
Like that.
Just clearly.
Yeah, I think more like that.
I've never seen it done straight up like that. I feel like it would do your nose. It would touch your nose.
I don't know. I'll ask him tomorrow. Though.
Yeah, we'll
We
have to
tape on
see.
Saturdays.
I think maybe he was shotgunning with some weak USF Balls fans or something. It's fine. So in your last podcast, you guys were talking about ayahuasca, as you called it. It's called ayahuasca. You got it
Thank
right.
you for the correction. I'm sorry about that.
No, you guys corrected yourselves on the podcast. But
Ayahuasca?
it just made me laugh so hard whenever it was either you or him. You're like ayahuasca or something like that.
I think it was. I think I'm the one that did that one.
Okay,
Ayahuasca.
and so Adrian's the one that likes to partake in the psychedelics, or at least he did in the past, and
Yeah.
has since taken a break from it. But he was interested in the ayahuasca, and he was like, "Where could I go?" So this is on Netflix. This is on my Netflix account, and I'm only going to play a small clip. It might not let me share the screen. This
I
is.
really hope you don't get us DMCA.
I hope so too, but I'm gonna try. So this is Soul Quest, the Church of Mother Earth, located in Orlando, Florida. It's in y'all's neck of the woods, and you can pay.
It's literally around the corner from my house.
Yeah, you can pay like $1,000 and go to this ayahuasca retreat with shamans and other people, and you'll see. Yep. No.
Wait. Before you play this, I just want to say
I can't play
I've
it.
lived.
It's fine.
Oh, okay. But whatever you're about to show.
It wouldn't. I couldn't. It wouldn't let me show. It has the blocker. It has the automatic. You're trying to live stream our shit blocker.
Oh, yeah, they're good with that. But
It was people throwing.
no joke. I live right by that place. I just have never gone for years because all I ever thought was like, if it's an ayahuasca place in Orlando, I can't assume it's the most spiritual thing.
It looks pretty legit. Did you see the Netflix documentary? It's on Netflix documentary, episode 5 of Unwell. I know that because I just looked it up. But
I've never seen that. I just know that it exists not far from my place, and in my mind, I just imagined like a few trailers and like some.
no, it's like
Orlando
an actual
folk.
retreat. That's one beautiful thing about Florida that I'm hopeful for is that you have that religious exemption. You can get some of these substances in through the religious exemption, which is handy, of course. But also, seriously, just let them know it's in Orlando. And I was gonna play what would happen to him, but I guess it won't let me do it. It was just a circle of people.
I'm gonna have to watch. I'm gonna have to watch that thing now, though.
Yep, it's
I'm gonna watch on Netflix.
the first 30 minutes they go to Peru and they talk about the origins of it and how it's become kind of like a tourist trap. And you got to watch out for shamans who aren't really shamans; they're just after it for the money. And then the second part is about it coming to America, and they do the Soul Quest place in Orlando, and they show this guy pretty much not have a good time because he was on other drugs. He was on SSRIs and antidepressants and stuff, and that's something you're not supposed to mix with powerful psychedelics. So just good to know it is here in America. It's available. You don't have to go to the Amazon to do it.
So now you think it's bad to mix psychedelics?
I didn't say it was bad to mix psychedelics. I said it's bad to mix other like SSRIs, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, with powerful psychedelics such as heavy dose mushrooms, LSD, peyote, ayahuasca, stuff like that. Ayahuasca. I'm gonna never call it ayahuasca ever again. Actually, yeah. I mean, that's about all I wanted to say for that one. This one's interesting. Oh shit! I exited out of it. Let me go to my show notes. So, Governor Ron DeSantis has proposed a budget cut of I think $100 million to bring in or bring in the Florida State Guard, like not the National Guard, but the Florida State Guard. And let me go to the link because it is not in the show notes. I thought it was, but it's not. I'll have to find it and I'll share the tweet. This man tweets. Fire Twitter. Okay,
Twitter's
we're good.
always been the worst.
What did you say? I mean, it was bad for Trump, but I don't know if you can read that. If I can zoom in, Ron DeSantis tweeted, "I am proposing more than $100 million for our National Guard, active duty military, and veterans to reestablish the Florida State Guard to assist our National Guard in state-specific emergencies. I am committed to supporting our military and keeping our state safe. Now, I see this as it could be good or bad. I think it's an authoritarian move, potentially, because I'm skeptical. But I also see it as a move towards more state independence. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, I think it's, as you said, more of a move towards independence. That was just kind of my takeaway from it. Like, it's at least a step in the right direction. I mean, I would prefer like no authoritarian, you know, legions at all, so to speak. But that's not exactly feasible. So if you could at least get that to something smaller, I think that's at least a step in the right direction in my lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've heard a little bit about this, so I know some. I don't know how accurate all the information that I have on it is, but I feel that it's going to be pretty much an all volunteer force of ex-military and ex, for lack of a better term, bureaucrats or whatever you want to call it, and that this is really meant to come out during natural disasters and on issues in which there was a state of emergency that's done. And I think that what you said before, Robert, is probably pretty good. Like, it could be used as a good thing, or it could be used as a bad thing. But I think that because there's only $100 million going towards it. I know that sounds really weird to say it this way, but in the grander scheme of things, they really blow $100 million on a whole. Like, they really need a lot to blow $100 million. And so the number of people they're actually going to pay as some kind of force is under 30. Like, it's going to be like, it's going to be all volunteer, and the bulk of the people that are going to be working for it are probably administration that are there to kind of organize it, I think, more than anything else. And not really, like, there's not going to be teeth to it. They're not going to have arresting capabilities. I think they're only going to be able to be like natural disaster assistance and stuff like that. And like 22 states already have something like this. So, at the end of the day, I don't view it as I don't think it's going to be bad at the end of the day.
So you think it's not a big of a deal as you want to make it out to be either way. It's not like huge for state independence because 22 other states already have this, and it's not going to be huge in authoritarian manners because it's only a very small amount relative to what they're trying to spend it on.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're not going to stop anybody. They'll make it so Florida's more not as dependent on federal humanitarian assistance and stuff like that. But because we're a hurricane state, we're kind of like that anyway.
That's a good point. Sadly, I'm a Floridian all my life. I didn't even think of that. So yeah, that's a very good point. And yeah, I mean, I brought this to my Flexit guys. The guys are like, yeah, Flexit. Let's get the Mises Caucus. Kind of we didn't buy. We were given the domain name Flexit, so we're trying to do something with it. It's
Nice.
I mean, yeah, it's a pretty good slogan, right? For Brexit, Texit. Flexit's probably one of the best.
Flexit sounds the best.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good. You can flex your muscles on it. That's what.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: you always double it as like a workout routine.
Yeah, flex it. And I think we can get a lot of people who hit the gym on it. Like they just like it just because of the name. Just like I'm in the gym, I flex it. Anyway, stop sharing that. And the last topic, I got Mitch, you sent a link to a podcast. I've never heard of this podcast called the podcast of the Lotus Eaters. I think they're British.
What, those guys?
These guys.
Oh, is that the thing that I dropped where they were just absolutely dunking on the LP?
For sure. And we're gonna play.
it. Do you remember what did I share the part? Like I shared a few things in there.
I got it. I watched it earlier. I did.
Okay, so you found the part where they just start dunking on the LP.
Yep. So it might take a couple seconds, but right here they started talking
Big
about
fan of these chaps.
Yeah, these are good chaps. Look, check out that mustache.
I just you got to venture outward to learn other perspectives, and that's as far as like the more right wing views go, if you even want to call them that. This is kind of where I've discovered that I generally tolerate, that I enjoy the most.
So first of all, I appreciate the fact that a lot of British people and maybe even people overseas in general pay more attention to U.S. politics than a lot of Americans, and it shows. It really does. And these guys probably pay
Well,
attention more to politics than U.S.
my, my,
politics than I do.
my only gripe is it seems like a lot of these guys, especially on the British side of things, just aren't aware of us. Like people who aren't the mainstream, establishment of the Libertarian Party. On the
Exactly,
national
and that's why
level. That's what you're about to see here. Is the things
Right,
that they're
and-
complaining about are the things that you've heard Dave Smith talk about and all these other people, and it's not necessary. They're not necessarily wrong, but it's like I'm hearing this, I'm just like, my God, they're fucking dunking on the LP.
Yeah, so I'm listening to this in the sauna, and I'm like, okay, how can we spin on this? And I'm like, okay, we'll bring it up and, put this out into the universe, and maybe the Lotus Eaters, these guys will see this clip somehow, some way, and they'll say, hey, what? There's this thing
I
called...
doubt they're going to care.
Yeah, they're not going to care, but I mean,
small,
at least,
my good sir.
Someone will know, like, hey, there's this mainstream Libertarian Party messaging is not, like, the main messaging of the party. It's a problem in the party that's trying to be combated right now. At least that's how a lot of us on the Mises side feel. I'm not speaking for Alex here, obviously, but first of all, good looks on the presentation of this podcast. I really like how they laid it out. Go ahead and play it.
We have the Libertarian Party.
What was their?
Yeah. So they say in here in this tweet.
And this is an old. This episode was from like a couple days ago. This tweet is very old. This was like when the Black Lives Matter stuff was going on, right, and all that. And then the LP was kind of tweeting pro Black Lives Matter tweets. Blah.
Black Lives Matter isn't an endorsement of the organization Black Lives Matter. It's an endorsement of the movement calling for criminal justice reform, an end to the drugs war, and abolishing qualified immunity and holding agents of the state accountable. Think for a minute. What does the criminal justice reform mean to the Black Lives Matter movement? It means moving away from individual justice and moving towards racial justice or social justice, whichever one they picked this evening. And you can see this in action with their response to their martyrs and their devils. And, well, with one of their martyrs, Jacob Blake.
Devils. They're devils.
He may have had a knife when he was shot by the police. Doesn't matter, though, because he is black.
Yes.
That's the argument. That's the level of debate.
I mean, that's basically it. As somebody who's quite partial to some libertarian views, I do not stand by this in the slightest. This is pathetic.
And, like, neither do a lot of libertarians, right?
Well, the problem is it feels like you're trying to hitch a ride on something else that isn't necessarily yours. Like, I think they actually get more into this as well. Like, you're trying to kind of that's kind of what the LP was trying to do, was they were trying to piggyback on something going on when that thing going on for the greater part wanted nothing to do with them.
And if I do recall, that tweet was kind of like a walk back tweet, right? Because it was a walk back tweet from Jorgensen saying, like, it's not enough to be passively anti-racist. You have to be actively anti-racist.
Yeah.
I might be getting the timeline mixed up. But I think that was kind of a walk back saying, hey, we don't endorse this communist Marxist organization, but we do endorse, prison reform and, social, all these sort of things that come along with the Black Lives Matter protest. And we've even seen, like, Igloo Boys, Boogaloo Boys, and some libertarians partner up with Black Lives Matter. And that's, to me, that's what
you saw them turn on Spike Cohen, though, recently.
Yes, they did. But I'm saying, my point is, you can coalition with whoever. You can coalition with whoever you want to get the job done. Libertarians will coalition with Democrats to get drug reform done, and will coalition with Republicans to get 2A passed at the same time. We can do that because we are a third party. My thing here is, they're saying we're supporting the Marxist organization. I don't think the majority of libertarians do, and I think that's why Jorgensen didn't really have that much of a backing behind her amongst libertarians. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Well, I mean, I can tell you the general feeling when that sentence was said in her speech on the convention floor. When I was in the audience, I kind of sat there like, this is what I just signed up for?
Yeah, I was there with you.
Well, I was just, it was a weird feeling because it was like, this is like the college professor that I couldn't stand, and this is not what I wanted from a political organization that was supposed to be against the establishments, you know? I don't know. I mean, maybe that's something, it's part of the fact that she is a college professor, so she's kind of a part of that cathedral, but all I could think was like, sounds like something I would hear from a fucking humanities humanities class.
Yeah,
Like
it is. Alex, any thoughts on like I guess the overall thing we're trying to get to is the national messaging of the summer riots in 2020 and all that by the national LP.
You know what? Look, I think that the tweet itself was an attempt to get involved in a conversation that was just a misfire. I think it wasn't put together in a way that would have made sense. A better way would be to. It's tough, man. It's tough, especially that time frame too. Like it's a lot. Like looking back now, it's different than in the time frame that it is because there was a lot of people out there riding in the streets, and I think that they were very angry with some stuff that we actually have answers to. And so, at what point how do you reach out with our messaging to them while calling out the organization itself for being Marxist? I don't know how you do that at the time. I do remember what Jorgensen said, or around along the lines of what Jorgensen said, because it happened about the same time. I think she had bad form for what she did as well. I think you have to find, that the National Party should be coming out, trying to put things out that are going to embrace all libertarians, and I don't feel as if that one kind of did that. And I don't know who was running social media at the time up there to do that, but it just didn't come out right. And I wasn't at the convention or anything, at least for Jorgensen's convention. But, and honestly, I actually came out and endorsed Vermin Supreme personally.
He's a great guy.
I love Spike. I love Spike, by the way. I mean, I want to see Vermin get it for a whole different set of reasons. But, think of Kill Bill and the speech with Superman. That was my reasoning and rationale for Vermin. But with that being said, I think the problem with Jorgensen's campaign at the end of the day was more an organizational thing and a lack of structure within the states and not really getting people up and running and getting things done. And then so you're relying on, she wasn't that good of a speech giver.
Yeah, it's funny you say that real quickly because I've heard things from behind the scenes that it seems like Hornberger and Vermin were the only two that were ready to run a campaign when the time came.
We were big Hornberger guys too. Mention.
I mean, we both campaigned for Hornberger. Did you campaign for him or did you just support him?
I did not. No, I did. I just
Okay.
voted for him.
I campaigned for him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I would have loved to. He's a nice guy. A great guy.
Yeah, no, Hornberger's a great guy.
Also would have loved
someone
to
who I
pay
respect
for Vermin, man.
Huh?
He probably would have paid me in weed, and I would have been okay with it.
Vermin?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that would
what do you think he carries under that boot on his head? It's not air. So I don't want to keep
just
you
imagining him taking off the boot, reaching
into
into the boot, and just pulling out.
Hold on, I want to give you guys a Vermin story though.
Oh yeah.
Oh, this is gonna be good.
I'll put you on the full
All
screen.
right, so
for that
this
one.
is during the 2016 election cycle at the Libertarian National Convention in Orlando. Now, at that time, we lived in Florida, so we assisted the national committee in running like the volunteers and running the session around for the 2016 election cycle. And that was the first year, at least that I can remember, that Vermin Supreme actually showed up. Now, I think, and Danielle seemed to think the same thing. Danielle, my wife, who's my political partner all the time, Vermin didn't think we would welcome him or that we would even know him. And I think that he was so taken aback. Not only was he welcomed, not only did we know him, but he was treated like a damn celebrity most of the time that he was there, and people were taking pictures with him all the time, and he never really broke character. Like, he always stayed in character, which I thought was really admirable, actually, that he would stay in character that long. That I think that kind of won him over to be more in the LP to actually make more of a serious run in the 20 cycle. But Vermin was great at 16 cycle. And he was just campaigning and doing his thing, but I loved Vermin, and he really thought we weren't going to let him in, and we were like, no, dude, you're totally allowed to come in here, come and do this. Like, he would treat him like everybody else, and because we liked him, we knew him before that. I mean, we knew about him during when was the one in Tampa we went to? We saw Vermin there as well for the Republican one, the one where they locked everything off. 2012 one. And Vermin was there for the 12 one. That was when we were, when they were like the Ron Paul guys and bust them, or they bust that one delegation around so they couldn't vote and stuff. And there was riot and all, and there was protests all in Tampa, and we saw Vermin there as well, which we've always liked Ian. And so that's the Vermin story, though. It was kind of fun, actually. I enjoyed the 2016 convention, even with God Rest His Soul. McAfee had stilt walkers in the main convention area, and then somehow got upset because we told them like you couldn't do that. But it was a crazy convention. But
that's an awesome story. My only story with Vermin is the 2019 one, right before COVID. It was February 2020. So right before March 2020, when everything kind of shut down, there was the LPF convention in Orlando, and I was able to go to it. And he smoked me out. He did, and that's in the past, So can't be held anything against me for that. But I think that's a great thing to say. And he broke character, and he was just such a genuine guy. He's just a good guy.
I'm kind of half and half on that, whether I actually want to see him break character or not. Like, I kind of feel like I don't want to see it.
No, you do.
No,
you do. I'm just going to tell you do, because I've been watching him since I was in high school, because I was into politics a lot, and I was like, who's this guy with the boot on his head saying everyone should have a pony, and everything that Vermin Supreme says, and he's wearing a boot on his head. So for him to break character, I'm like, oh, I see what you're doing. That's awesome. And I think what he does is just noble in that he's bringing satire to the political arena, because
when you get down to it, he's basically a performance artist.
Yeah, that's all he is.
He is, but the meaning of it, I think, is amazing. I just love it.
You can have meaning and be a performance.
He's building off of that idea that we all heard in school that anyone can run for president. Like, that's basically what he's a parody of. It's like, okay, anyone? Okay, even the homeless man with a boot on his head with 17 ties who's promising a free pony for everyone. Even that guy.
I love that. Yeah, that's all I got for you. I know you said you wanted to keep it to our. We're 8 minutes over. I don't want to.
No, I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So thank you guys for watching. Mitch and I are going to hang on for a little bit and wrap this thing up. Alex, you got to go. But thanks for joining.
See you guys. Hey, it was great doing the show, man. I will talk to Adrian and see if we can convince him.
Oh yeah, do it.
Come on. Yes, let's do it.
If I'm ever in town, I would love to stop by y'all's studio or whatever you have too. I know you don't have guests on, but come on, let's do it.
No, we'll see if we can make that happen.
We can do a shotgun competition. I'm telling you.
I'll let him know. Have a good evening, guys.
You too. Thank you. All right. That was our guest, Alex Snitker. Follow him. I don't think he gave us a Twitter or anything, so he probably has one. Look him up, Alex Snitker, and Alex and Adrian's Unattended Baggage on all your podcatchers, podcast on iTunes and whatnot. So, I think that was a good episode. Joey, sorry you hopped in too late, man. The show is every Friday. We haven't been as consistent with having everybody on.
Tim started his own spinoff. Think of it as like the Joey to our friends.
Yeah, Tim's got Tim's Trash Show, I think, on Saturdays now. Mitch is going to have his show.
My show is like the Frasier to our Cheers.
And Joey, also just to let you know, I told you, Joey and I hung out for 2 hours and got pretty shit-faced after a show. And just drinking it on Discord. He's got Boston Terriers. I've got Boston Terriers. and mine's got a smaller tail than he does.
Are we about to have another conversation about dogs on this channel?
No, we're not. I'm just saying my dogs. We basically had this weird conversation where he told me about his Boston Terriers, and his stories were like the same. It was like we have the same dog. You know?
Certain characteristics you'll find that a lot of the breeds share.
It was more
mannerisms,
than that,
characteristics, the way they. No, trust me. I know what you're talking about, dude. I work with dogs. Like,
no, you don't. You don't work with my dogs. You don't work with Joey's dogs. I don't want to hear
Oh
shit,
my god,
dude.
are you really going to turn into that customer?
This second drink was strong. I'm not even going to lie. I mean, I'm going to play the Christmas music now. I feel like wrapping it up. No one joined us. I'm kind of sad, but I think we held our own on this episode.
No, we did a good job. I'll be honest. I came into this not really knowing much about this guy, so this was. I definitely enjoyed him. He was a fun guy to have on.
I heard about his podcast from a lady. I don't know if she wants to be named or not, so I'm not going to name her. She's in the Libertarian Party of Escambia County, and we listened to it on the way to the Constitutional Carry rally in Tallahassee. And since then, I've been listening to it every now and then. Their last episode, pretty fucking hilarious. It's called COVIDs, talking about the Omicron variant, which has been reported started from someone who was a unmedicated AIDS patient. So really? They coined the term COVIDs on their podcast. So it's pretty funny, pretty raunchy.
I mean,
they get down and dirty.
Dude, I'm not going to lie. Coming into this, I didn't know he was doing a show with Adrian.
Yeah.
Until I saw that, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying.
When I said that Adrian is kind of the reason why I joined LPF, I'm not joking. That dude was actually a candidate you could be proud of.
Yeah, and that's why I was okay with handing my chair position over to Alex. I was like, you were a lobbyist? Yeah, why don't you chair this committee and teach me a couple things so I can actually know what I'm doing whenever I want to do this kind of stuff. Like, I don't know. I think everyone on this channel should go follow their podcast. I listen to it, like I said. It's hilarious. It's just as funny as this podcast, if not more funny than the Canifest episode. If you saw me and Josh struggling to do a podcast.
Our sober episode, you mean?
A sober Canifest episode. Yeah, well, it's because we were tired. We were just tabling all day.
We were just exhausted that day, honestly. I think it was because we felt the need. We needed to do something. But at the same time, we were just like, fuck this.
Yeah, for sure. Plug your shit. Plug your shit and let's get out of here.
All right. Go check out me on Twitter at MitchConnorJlo. Check out my show Culture and Decay here on Swamp Creatures as well, or Swampcast Network, Swamp Media. We gotta do something. Is it Swampcast, Swamp Media?
It's in the works. It's in the works because I was about to.
Are we just in the works media?
So for those of you who care, Tim and all of us kind of have this idea to start us basically a podcast / media network.
Yeah.
And we're going to bring all of our podcasts here. So Joey, if you're listening, I know you like to listen to the College Football Extravaganza podcast, which is on my Higher Frequency network, which doesn't have as many subscribers. So if you're listening and you haven't subscribed, go subscribe to that. But we're bringing that over to this podcast network, and that'll be great because then we'll get a little mix of sports, politics, and everything, right?
Culture, and my show, Culture and Decay.
Yeah,
we talk about all the crazy cultural shit you can think about.
I'm not gonna lie, the first episode, I hopped in on the first episode. That was
I'm trying to find weird, obscure culture shit. I want to talk about some fun stuff. Let's keep all the politics and news here. I want to find some weird, I don't know, otherworldly shit.
It's your show, man. You can do what you want. And I hopped in the first episode, and then I listened to the rest of it after y'all were talking shit about me. Well, Duke was talking shit. You were kind of on my side, actually. And I hope Duke is listening to this. Go fuck yourself, because listen, you gotta be in there. Maybe he was. He said he was. He said he had a bad experience. Whatever. It's fine. Look, there's a few.
What part are you talking about? The psychedelic part?
The psychedelic part. Whenever I left, you guys started saying, well, you kind of laid it out very eloquently. You did a good
Well,
job.
we were
of
having
that.
different views on things. I think Duke was just playing devil's advocate for a lot of that show.
He was the whole time, and he actually did a good job. Because when we were talking about cryptocurrency, and he was talking about gold, he was like, yeah, but he kept doing the yeah, but, and he was going. I was on his side up until you started talking. Like, you brought something super technical into the mix, and I was like, oh. And then Duke was like, hey man, I'm just asking questions. I'm like, okay. Okay.
Dude, I mean, honest to God, though, I feel like that always happens with people. It's like I'm talking surface level, they're not getting it. I get super technical, and they're just like, whoa, wait, what?
Well, I think you were caught off by him doing the devil's advocate, because he had a couple points, and you were like, well, man, fuck you. Why are you bringing up these points right now?
Well, no, it wasn't really that. It was a matter of, like, I was trying to keep, like, on the agenda of the show, because, like, I came on with our little, our little notes already. I'm like, I'm trying to keep on. I was like, okay, I wasn't looking to go on a crypto debate. That wasn't a part of this. Like,
y'all talking about crypto the whole time. Like,
I know.
Like, the whole time.
Into it. Which is funny, because my show notes, like, honest to, fuck it, we'll go a little bit later. We did this shit with when Angela was on too.
Yeah, that's fine.
No, like, just to give you people an idea, like, the show notes for that, I had pills, as in the red pills and all that, North Korea, Bigfoot, and the metaverse.
Well, you hit them all, but, like, it was.
I know.
It would have been better with more people, because, like, it was just funny, the duality between you and Duke, and I think we're gonna see this a lot with the mixed schedule, because we're gonna get shows like it where it's me and you, and where it's like me and Tim, or it's also fuck Tim. I wanted to bring that up too. Tim was like, so Rob just bases his whole life view off of his experience while he's on drugs, and I haven't done these things in years, and I don't know what Tim's experience is with
I kind of want to talk to more with Tim about that, because he was saying stuff in the comments, and it was kind of like, dude, I wish you were in this episode right now.
So debate line. Do psychedelics help you reach a more spiritual? Like, do they help reach a more spiritual part of yourself, or
I think they can.
Universe, whatever you want to call it, and I think that's it, because he's saying, okay, you can't, basically the equivalent of what he's saying is, you can't have fun without drinking. It's like, yeah, okay, you can, but you can also drink a little bit and you can have some fun, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it is.
The spiritual journey that we all go on is different for everyone. And for some of those, it involves having to take an action.
Keep going. I'm just gonna.
You're gonna own. But basically, you take this one action, and it's a moment that leads to enlightenment. A lot of times, it's something which triggers a specific journey within one's own journey that can basically reveal truths to one. This is something you see in a lot of fiction and a lot of literature and a lot of video games. Like, fucking, as I brought up on the show, you have Luke Skywalker.
The hero's journey?
The tunnel. Well, no, yeah, the hero's journey, but, like, I'm talking about this sort of psychedelic experience of sorts, like the tunnel in Dagobah where he battles Vader, even though it's not directly psychedelic. But if you want to get more direct with shit, I mean, in the video game Fallout 3, in the one DLC, you take a psychedelic flower or some shit, I don't remember, and you trip and go through like this crazy trippy sequence. So, like, this is something that it's just always been a part of the idea of going on a spiritual journey. And honestly, it's different for everyone. I'm not saying it's something that's necessary, but in some ways, I do think to some degree it's something that one should keep in mind, even if it's not done through the traditional psychedelic means. Like, if you go through like the sensory deprivation tank or meditation or some of these other things, I mean, you don't need to go to extreme lengths with like LSD or
you can practice for years doing Kundalini yoga or meditating.
Meditation is hard. That's
it's
what
super hard.
sensory deprivation is your best bet if you're looking to go towards a more completely organic route.
Soberly, yeah. Completely organic.
We should get Tim to do the tank. There we go.
I was just
if we get to 300 subs, we're gonna get Tim to do a sensory deprivation tank.
I think we could do something better than that.
300 subs, and we'll also open up an Odyssey.
I say 500, and we'll do something crazy, but that's just me.
We gotta set a goal, man. Fuck that.
What?
Like 300, then we'll
set
go
the
to
record
500 from that. Well, this is the road to 300.
I just want to set the record straight. I should have pulled up what Tim said on the show notes because I really wanted to address it, and I hope he does his trash show. And I can say
You're
that
gonna call
and not be a dick because that's the name of the show.
Call into the trash show, whatever it's
Come
called.
up with a better. Oh, call into the. I should call in from my.
I feel like his show, if it keeps that name, a raccoon needs to be the logo, the mascot.
Or possum.
Some sort of trash animal.
Some sort of trash animal.
The trash panda. Come on.
Yeah, trash panda. Look, I think Mitch and I are on the same page, so you can be on my team on this thing when we have our classic debate. It was just funny watching you and Duke talk, and you're like, "Have you ever heard of Terrence McKenna?" He's like, "No, never heard of him." I'm like, "Oh, Duke, what are you doing?" And you were like,
I didn't really know what else to say because it was just kind of like, I mean, he's the psychedelic guy. Like, that's basically it. Like,
yeah, him, Timothy Leary, Joe Rogan, all these guys are pretty much the reason why half the population is open-minded to this now. Pretty much responsible for a new psychedelic revolution, if you ask me. But I think that's for another podcast. I just wanted to set the record straight and say I don't base my entire afterlife view on that. I'm just saying
I don't either.
It helps some people believe in an afterlife.
There's things that can open up one's perspective to the greater universe around us, and that's one of the catalysts that is possible out there. It's not the only catalyst, but it is the go-to one, at least for some.
Well said. And thank you for your plugs. So go follow.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah. Sorry. Go check out the Libertarian Frontier on T Public. Okay, there we go.
There you go. And also follow Mitch's Instagram at Cypherpunk. He posts gym pics now. That's the thing.
Gym pic?
Yeah, I liked your gym pics, and I almost sent an eggplant emoji, so you're lucky.
I realized after doing that Stone Toss comic of the guy at the gym is real.
Oh, it is,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, the one where it's like, oh, the chicks are going to love this, and they post the pic, and then it's nothing but dudes. It's like, oh, what the fuck?
I'm only posting a gym pic when I hit my goal weight.
I've decided to now take that same approach.
Take it down, bro. Take it down. I'm joking.
Oh, no,
you can leave it up. Okay.
The principle of the matter.
Yep. Thank you guys for watching the show. Tune in next Friday. I believe Duke's bringing a guest on. Do we know who the guest is? It's going to be Adam Nutter, right?
I believe so. Yeah, Adam.
Comedian Nutter. Adam Nutter, very very funny guy. I'm going to make it a point to get all my shit done next week, so I can be at the next week's podcast. So maybe we can have a full crew again.
Drop a like and or a nut for Nutter next week.
Nut for Nutter.
Yeah.
Not for nothing, nut for Nutter. All right, in the stream. Peace out. Follow Swampcat.